time has come. We get to talk about Savage World Adventures Edition's physical products. Hey everybody, Bobby here for the GM's Table, and most people are doing unboxings of the nice, pretty Savage World Adventures Edition box set, and I'll be honest, I was one of those people. I recorded an unboxing, I had a multicam setup, I had backups on backups, and all of them failed for completely different reasons. So instead, we're going to do product reviews. We're going to kind of do a lightning round of product reviews of all the stuff in this box set. I'm not going through an actual unboxing, but I'm going to talk about each of the items, what I like, a few of the things I don't like, which I knew going into it, and move on from there. So, we're going to have some cuts as I slide this behemoth open. Again, my stuff is not in the order. I know they have a fitted area on the bottom to hold your book, and it holds the books that come with this. We're going to get into that and all that. And then there's a nice tray that holds all the stuff on top. I reorganized mine. My tray that holds the decks and the bennies and the dice and all is on bottom, so my books can go on top, and they're loose, but it's so I can more easily get around to them. Now, on top of all of that, are one of the things I was most excited to get, these. These are clear, I believe, acrylic templates. You only get two. One is the cone template, and then this is all the blast templates, small, medium, and large. They're clear, so you can lay them over the top, see which one fits. It's really all you need. I'm real excited to use these in person coming up. Now, another thing down there was a sheet of status tokens. Again, I already did my unboxing, so I already popped these out. And we're going to get to one of my first, what? Kind of moments. I love these tokens. They're good. They're heavy duty. They have slight gloss on top. The thing that confuses me is, well, we get a ton of wound tokens, ton of shaken tokens. You only get 2 tokens for being on hold. Now, I don't know about you guys, I don't know about your games, but between my players and different NPCs, the odds of more than only 2 people being on hold is pretty high. In fact, it's almost a given. So having only 2 on hold tokens is kind of a, huh? Like, why? All right. This does not come in the box set. This is where we're going to start getting to prices. If you weren't part of the Kickstarter, this gorgeous box set that comes with everything except the core rules is $150. The core rules in print is another $40. It is hardcover this time. It is only hardcover. They are not making a softcover version of Adventures Edition, at least as of now. It has to do with printing costs. We were really, really lucky that Savage Worlds was staying $10 for a physical release as long as it did. It is now $40. It is this nice hardcover. The sizing fits the other settings. In fact, I'm going to pull out an ETU book, and you can see it matches up. It fits. It's a little bigger, but that's fine. It's hardcover because the paper matches, and hardcover, it's going to be a little bigger than the pages, but it fits right up with all your other Savage Worlds books. All right, this is not the most up-to-date rules. There has been errata, but all the errata for it fits on one page, so you can print that out if you want the most up-to-date with every piece of errata. There were a couple other things they found after things went to print. It fits on one page. Other than that, though, this book, gorgeous, heavy-duty. In here, I have tucked, doesn't come with the book. We're going to talk about these in a minute. But, nice. The printing quality is great. The text is actually really big, which means if you're someone who has issues seeing, shouldn't really be a problem here. No micro text in here. Everything's great. Very readable. Honestly, $40, it's worth it. If $40 is too steep, remember the PDF version is still only $10. You can still get into Savage Worlds for only $10. Now, back to the physical stuff that's actually in the box set, which is what everyone's been waiting for. I pulled this out of the core book because I had it tucked in there. You do get some bookmarks. these bookmarks are actually really cool. I had a lot of people I'm seeing in comments in the Facebook groups and stuff of, it's just paper and they're going to get destroyed. It's actually pretty heavy duty paper. This is on par, honestly, with the GM screen for that new D&D Essentials box. And this is a bookmark, not a GM screen, so I'm more okay with it. All of them have little notches, so they double as rulers. So if you're playing with minis and you're not playing on something with a grid, you can just use the bookmarks as rulers. Each bookmark has different art on it. Also, the back of each is completely different. The one a lot of people are talking about is the raise calculator. I've never needed a raise calculator personally, but I'm a weird person that does math for fun. If calculating raises is tricky, this is going to come in handy. The ones I love is, first of all, this is the only one that has vertical art. I wish the bookmarks all had vertical art. You put them in the book this way. You're very rarely going to look at the art this way. But the one with red, the vertical art, the art that's on the front of the box, the art that comes with the poster that's going to be going up once I get some tape. This one has the injury table. This is really handy. All right, I can just put this with the incapacitation rules or with the healing rules, wherever I think I'm going to be looking at stuff for, oh crap, the character just died or might have died. And I can just have this in there. I don't have to flip pages. The other two we have are common states, which this is a good cheat sheet. This is like, give this to the newest player because it covers distracted, fatigued, shaken, and vulnerable. These will come up all the time. And then this one is kind of for like that seasoned player who they don't need that, but maybe they're trying fancier stuff because this is the common ranged attack modifiers, which is, it's not just ranged because it has the range modifiers, it has the cover modifiers, it has all the illumination modifiers, it has what aim does, and it has the numbers that are in the book for if you're playing without minis, and you know, those templates don't really work if you can't put them on top of minis that don't exist. It's all right here. Really, really awesome. It also has the deviation rules, which does matter if you're playing a more military game with grenades and all of that stuff. Okay, next up is probably my personal favorite part of the box set, and it's something you can buy separately. Basically everything in this box set you can buy separately. I think the bookmarks and the poster you can't, but that's it. And that is the GM screen. It also comes with this little book we're going to talk about. Now, one small complaint I had, and this is a personal complaint, something with the shipping. These were sealed, so it wasn't like it happened during shipping. This was stuck to this. If I get up close, you can see it actually is already damaged. I don't really care if it damaged the print on the book, but it damaged the coloring on my cover. And not just there. On the inside, I had an area where two of the leaves were stuck together. Don't know what's going on there. I'm going to save this book for right after. Now, me personally, I have tucked away in here the reference sheets, and we'll talk about those before we get into this. I have a gripe with this, but mostly I love it. Sorry for the noise of just hitting my mic. All right, so it comes with two reference sheets. One of these I'm going to use all the time. One of these I wish that it actually came with two of. The other, I love that's a reference sheet because I'll so rarely use it. And that is, we have a reference sheet for the Chaise Rules. All the Chaise Rules plus all the maneuvers. I love this because if I have any inclination that a chase is going to happen in my session, I just tuck this in with my material. I don't even bookmark the page for chases. This is everything I need. When chases come out, we pull it out, we can look, we can reference, you can pass it around for people on their turns on chases. Yes, this is super handy, mainly because I won't use it too much. I don't run a lot of chases in Savage Worlds with the new chase mechanics because I'm mostly doing digital games, and Fantasy Grounds doesn't handle the new Savage Worlds chases, like, at all. But that's a separate video. The other reference sheet is the one I wish we got two of. It has our combat conditions, modifiers, all our combat options. This has, again, the injury table. This has the bullets or ammo you'll use for higher rate of fire weapons. It has your common power modifiers. And this is the continued area of this. Basically all the rules the players will need to look up. I wish I had 2 of these so I could put one on either side of the table for players to reference, and like 2 or 3 players can look at each one. Now they got to pass this around, but I love it. I love that it's here. I keep those personally tucked in my GM screen because at the very least that player reference one I'm going to have anytime this GM screen's out. I'm going to be using it. Now, this GM screen, other than the printing sticky issues, I love this thing. Well, there is one gripe. That wasn't my big gripe. But I love this thing. I love its size. It is sized the same as the core book and the digest size, which means when it folds out, first of all, yes, it is landscape, not portrait. I prefer those. But on top of that, it's an even lower profile one than most games. I love that. I'm actually going to be able to wrap this like around my keyboard, and it won't even show up on my stream for my stream games. But I do have one gripe. And it comes back to these settings all here. Or it's related to. This thing references just about everything you will need. But it doesn't have the fear table. Okay? And yes, you might not run horror games, but we're going to do a quick look at their example settings, which are some of their most popular settings. This is a horror setting. This is a horror comedy setting. It still uses the fear table a lot. As I said in my recording that went bad, it's been a while since I looked at Lankmar. I believe it does. I'm going to give it a half point. I don't think Lankmar is like full-on horror. But Flash Gordon, no. Flash Gordon's High Adventures. Okay. 2.5 out of 4. Flip it around. Last Parsec might not be horror, but it uses the fear table a lot. Fear Agents. Yeah, it uses the fear rules. Weird Wars. All the Weird Wars are horror. And Rippers is horror. All of these, except Flash Gordon, need the fear table. It's going to be referenced a lot. Now, why am I bringing it up this way? I know you have to make some concessions. You can only fit so many things on this chart. What is on the what is on the GM screen is the creative combat table. I do like the idea of creative combat. I like the table, but it is a rules option. It is an optional rule. The fear table is a core rule. Not only that, if you're not running your own homebrew games, I mainly do, but again, advertising settings, if you're talking about the pre-made settings, that table was made for Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon is the only setting that uses it so far. But it's on the GM screen instead of the fear table. That bugs me. That's actually my biggest complaint of this entire box set, and it's kind of a minor complaint. I'm going to have to print out the fear table and tape it so it's in my GM screen if I want to use fear rules for any of the horror settings. Let's also remember, Deadlands, their biggest setting, also a horror setting. This is kind of ranty, but I feel like it needs emphasis. They didn't put the fear table in the GM screen, but they put the creative combat table from an optional rule only one setting uses. It is new. It is, ooh, look, here's a new rule that's new to SWADE. I get it. The box set isn't just made for people who already have been playing Savage Worlds and are new to SWADE. This is going to be the go-to kit for people getting into Savage Worlds. Not just that, it's not just a box set. Remember, you can buy this separately. It's going to have the same problem. Now, moving on to the positive. Half positive. Most GM screens for different settings come with an adventure. This is for the core rules. What adventure would they give you? Well, instead, they give you this book. Now, it's not as well bound. It's staple binding. It's just under 50 pages, but it is 4 mini settings. This has all the custom rules for each setting. Some of these are rules that aren't even in the core book that are brought up here. It has at least 1 adventure per setting, and any new monsters are also listed in here. I do like this. I have a small personal gripe of just a marketing thing when they're putting out, you're going to get 4 mini settings made for this book. At least one of these is becoming its own third-party published full setting, which means it's more like a jump start. But other than that, I do appreciate this. This basically replaces all the adventures that were in the back of the deluxe core book. One of the things I loved about the deluxe core book was it had a whole collection of adventures from different genres. I will say, I still like that better than this. That one was built to use the different setting rules in the core book. These are written by different publishers. These are kind of like the best highlight showcase in a lot of ways of things that are cool and coming. Now, granted, they're not all by different publishers. One of these written by Shane Henlesley, the creator of Savage Worlds. And they're really cool settings. I just do like that layout or that format better. But I really enjoy this. In addition to this nifty little book of settings, you do get the World Builder and Game Master's Guide with this box set. I know for a fact it's for sale separately as a PDF. I believe you can buy it print separately. But honestly, it's nice to have here. I wouldn't buy it as a separate book. I don't hate this book. I actually really like this book. But here's the thing. When it was first announced, they were basically saying, we're taking out the Game Master's chapter from the core rules because it's going to become its own book. And yes, they did. Kind of. Most of the Game Master stuff you need is still in the core book. There's some advice in here that's helpful, but nothing you need to run the game. Most people, when they hear Game Master's Guide, they think it's necessary for the game. This isn't. This is some nice, light side reading. Because here's the other thing. This is not the Game Master section. The Game Master section's more like this. Barely anything. So what's the rest of the book? They are essays. They're essays written by many influential people in the Savage Worlds community. Many people who work for Pinnacle, who work with Pinnacle, people who do great third-party projects, people who are very active and well-known within the fan community and stuff like that. They reached out to all corners of the Savage Worlds community, and some of the top people, not me, and it's fine, I'm not jealous, I'm really not. I'm not good at writing essays. But so many people are here, so many people are writing essays, and each essay is basically about the topic they're most well known for, most versed with, the things you would want them telling you information about. Stuff from Richard Woolcock, who does some of the most amazing and prolific fan-made material around, about writing fan-made material in here. Stuff like Jordan Collerman, who runs Wildcards, the Saving Throw Savage Worlds stream show, about running Savage Worlds for streaming games. There's advice in here for running Savage Worlds for younger audiences. There's advice for running Savage Worlds for older audiences. There is a lot of great stuff in here. I would not call it a necessary book for running the game. This is more a cool book that is tied to the Savage Worlds world and kind of all of that collection. It's very much, the advice is very good for Savage Worlds, but it's a book of essays. I enjoy books of essays, but that's what it is. All right, all the top stuff's down. Normally, when you buy your box set and when you first open it, this is the first thing you see. As well, no, actually, yeah, the tokens and the templates and all are under this. This is what's normally on top. I moved it down to the bottom. It is this nice little fitted area. I'm going to breeze through most of this stuff. You do get a set of dice. Pretty standard dice, but they are black with gold lettering. Fits the Savage Worlds color scheme. And you get 4 extra wild die. Each D6, the 6 replaces one of the icons on the Savage Worlds logo. Pretty standard. I have yet to open these. I'm going to be opening them soon. If I can get them out. Jesus, man. All right, we got new Savage Worlds bennies. And I had done a comparison to the ones I got from ChupacabraCon, the actual ChupacabraCon bennies. I like these better. They're good and heavy. They're, the clay poker chips, but they're solid rimmed. A lot of places that do bennies do a sticker on a poker chip, and you'll get the different colored stripings on the side. Solid black, really nice quality decal work on them. These things are going to hold up. Then you have these, which I love. They call them the ammo and PowerPoint tracker. It's literally just 2 pieces of cardboard, a pin that holds it together, and a little window. I'm going to get that up close. And you can just, spot the wrong way. 1, 2. You do this so you can either keep track of your PowerPoints and count down, keep track of your ammo and count down. What I'm going to use these for is dramatic tasks. How many successes do you have? All right, we got 4 more successes. Cool. Cool. I can just keep track of successes on one of these things. Really love it. You get, I believe, 5 of them. Double check that. They are packed. When you get them, they're in a little bag, but they're packed in the one area that bugs me on the packaging of, I guess they had an issue with it. The bottom of this is a separate piece of cardboard, so it floats around. These probably aren't going to stay in that hole. In fact, I'm going to move the dice to that hole. It'll be easier to take them out. But there we go. Yep, 5. Now, 4 players and the GM, or 5 players. Then we get to the decks. And I'm going to kind of quickly run through all the decks before going into the specifics of only one. That way we don't have a breakdown of all the decks. So, we have power cards. Cards of all the powers in the core book. There is a spacer in this. In most of these, there's a spacer. I am really hoping when official Savage Rules products keep coming, new settings, update settings, things like that, I'm hoping, at least for Kickstarter backers, if there's new powers for the setting, we can get like a booster pack of cards to add to our powers deck. You then get the status cards, which again, similar to the tokens, the status cards are really useful, but they have notation of what the rule is. So if you're shaken, it'll tell you what you can and can't do as shaken and how to unshake. Wounds, it'll remind you that it's also a penalty to pace, which I always forget. Things like that. Very, very useful. However, you get, I'm going to check this right here. Yeah, you get 2 hold cards. We've been over this. Lots of people go on hold. And the ones I really find weird, you only get 1 defend card. For someone who runs low power games like ETU, when my players realize they're in over their heads, there ain't just going to be one person defending. Okay? You only get 1 defend card. But maybe you're playing high power games. Awesome. You also only get 1 aim card. But you do get 12 shaken and 11 wounded. 11 wounded I definitely get because maybe you give 1 wound card out to each wound. 12 shaken, we could have cut that down to like 8 and given some of these other ones a few more cards. Because only 1 aim, only 1 defend, only 2 hold. Yeah. Now, another thing I brought up, and this isn't an official rule, but something a lot of people use, is since initiative is already done on cards, if you go on hold, you just flip your card over. You didn't give it back to the GM. You still have a card, but it's flipped over. If you see the back of the card, you know they're on hold. Now, I'm not saying the hold card is completely useless because it also gives the rules for interrupting and all of that, and for new players that is useful. But if you really can't cut down the number of shaken cards you have, you could have cut out the hold cards and given us more than 1 aim and more than 1 defend. In fact, just take out the holds and give us 2 aim, 2 defend, and I'd be enjoying that more. Then we have the adventure deck. This is one of the most optional things in Savage Rules, but so many people see it as mandatory. In fact, a lot of players, similar to Joker's Wild before it became a core rule, played in so many games where this was just assumed. People thought it was just part of the game. And this is extra cards that each player gets 1. I'm not getting into all the rules of the adventure yet. You get more than 1 if you're higher ranked, but you can still only spend 1. But you all get 1 at the beginning of play, and they can, if it's a card you like, if it's a card you think will come in handy during play, you can play them during the game. And it's stuff like Ace. You just add a d6 to any result. Nice. There's things like Deadly Blow. It doubles your damage for that 1 attack. Things like that. Now, with this, there is also an edge you can take called Destiny's Child, which lets you get a second card. They gave a card that is both how to use this deck and the Destiny's Child edge, so you just have a card that has this. If you're going to be playing these a lot, you can just slip this into your core book and it's right there. So with that, I'm going to talk about the box for these cards, but I'm going to wait till the last deck, the action deck. Not they're all away. And then we have the action deck. It's bigger. So the action deck is a standard deck of playing cards. But first we're going to talk about this. All of the decks of cards have this. Rather than it being a tuck case, which can damage cards and all this, these have slip lids. They're like mini versions of the big box set. I love that. Now, you dump it out. This is the size of the cards. They are a jumbo deck of cards so you can see them from across the table for initiative, which I really love. They have said the art on the deck is neutral, so it fits all settings. Not quite. Each suit is a different genre, with clubs being horror, diamonds being like pulp sci-fi, hearts being, here, I'll do this, that's a better one, hearts being classic pulp adventure, and spades being like Conan style adventure. But I do love them. I love the art on them. I love how visible they are. For someone who runs streaming games, I'm going to work on having a thing where I can just pin the cards behind me, hopefully with clips that won't damage them because they're visible even behind me, which I enjoy. I really, really like these. Also, you do get 2 jokers with this. I said this in, again, the video that will never be seen because it failed. I wish it came with 4 jokers. We're already doing a custom deck. I can't just add cards to this deck from other decks. Not just because of the back, but because they're totally different sizes. When I buy cheap decks of cards, they usually come with a filler card or a rules card for like different card games and stuff like that. I leave those in to have sometimes 3, preferably 4 jokers in the deck. If this came with 4 jokers, you could just remove the number of jokers you want, because those are actually common house rules. With this, I'm stuck at 4 jokers. But the jokers, they're actually red and purple instead of red and black, because both of them have black. But they brought back Smilin' Jack, and he is so creepy, but I love him. I love the art. In fact, here's your classic red Smilin' Jack. That's who the Joker is, as you'd expect. That's it. That's the whole shebang. But things to remember is stuff like this deck alone is $20. So $150 to get all this stuff is a great deal, even if you're not in the Kickstarter. This is how I rebox. I will say I'm going to be doing some adjustments here. For my stream games, this is staying out. It's not going in the box. The adventure deck, not going in the box. Everything else can stay for now. I have bennies. I do really love these bennies, but I'm going to try and keep them together. Now, if I'm storing, just for the sake of now, because I got a couple days till my stream, I am going to put them in the box. But typically, they're the ones I'll keep outside, along with my core book, because I'm not going to be shuffling through the box during play. Then, what I do is I put my books in order of how I think I'm going to actually use them in play. World Builder's Guide. This is going to be coming out for me to be bedside reading, but it does not come out at the table. It's not really a table book. Then we have the mini settings. I might use some of the monsters. I might be running one of the settings. So it's a maybe. The inserts, they go in my GM screen just to keep them all together. It does push it out a little, but that's fine because we got space because we're not using the inserts. I have yet to bookmark my book, but that's where my bookmarks are going to go. We're going to go in my core book. Worth noting, not only is this art up here gorgeous, but here's the full-size version, and it's still gorgeous. Again, really high-quality print. Put that in. Then last on top, because they don't really fit anywhere else, the templates. We take the lid and just slide it down. Perfect fit. This is going to be stored right up here. I had to take this down. I got a lightsaber on my recent vacation. It lays right across the top. And that is where my box set's going to go. Which means red will be twice, because I'm also going to put red either here or here. And I'm going to put a D&D poster on the other side. Anyways, that was my Savage Worlds Adventures Edition Lightning Round product review and reboxing. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next week. Bye.